What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about what would be a successful season for the New York Jets, especially with the new quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. So let's see what they have to say about that.
And,
Can't blame me. I didn't
tell
say
me
anything.
this. What's a successful season for Rodgers and the Jets?
You want me to start?
No, Dan.
Yes.
I'm just on this camera, so I'm
Okay.
looking at it.
Danny, go ahead.
Sorry,
Super Bowl.
that's throwing you guys off. I was just trying to follow the camera.
Super Bowl.
What? You're dreaming.
That is a Super Bowl appearance. And I know the AFC is loaded. I'm completely aware of all that. But this is a roster that is good enough. And I asked this question this morning. Give me the one known flaw for the New York Jets football team. They don't have one. That there is an obvious glaring thing that they're going to have to somehow overcome a not good enough defensive line or not good enough coverage unit or not good enough skill position people or they can't run the football or they're not well coached or they don't have a quarterback. They finally do. And I honestly believe this. Kansas City's the king of the castle. You have to go beat Kansas City. Cincinnati belongs in the conversation of teams that are capable. I got to see what happens at right tackle with them and their two new safeties. The two teams that are most equipped, best suited to go knock off Kansas City, one, the Buffalo Bills, two, the New York Jets. To do it, you have to go get after the quarterback. The Jets have waves to go do that. I understand it's the Jets. The expectation is they are good enough, and they finally have a quarterback that can get them to the Super Bowl. That is their ceiling, and candidly, that's their floor. They belong there, and they should get there.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Dan. I think the New York Jets just need to worry about making the playoffs. Last year they went 7-10. They just need to worry about, winning the AFC East. And they have to deal with Buffalo and Miami. Well, Buffalo went 13-3 last year. Miami went 9-8. Worry about winning the AFC East and worry about just making the playoffs. I don't know. That would be a successful season. I don't know what he's talking about with the New York Jets making the Super Bowl. I mean, I know they have Aaron Rodgers. He's a Hall of Famer. But still, I do not see those boys knocking off the Kansas City Chiefs or outdoing the Cincinnati Bengals. Just worry about making the playoffs.
Oh, my gosh. Dan, they haven't made the playoffs in 2 decades. Now, all of a sudden, we're
Exactly.
going to win the division and beat Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow and get to a Super Bowl. Let's take it easy a little bit. How about making the playoffs and winning a game? I mean, before you sit there and say, well, they're going to walk into Cincinnati and Kansas City in January and win 2 playoff games, can we take it easy? The quarterback is 38. The coach, by the way, hasn't won anything in his career. Let's not forget that. And that includes the Super Bowl when Mahomes killed him in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And I like Saleh, too, but he hasn't won anything. They finished the season last year with a 6-game losing streak. He's not Weeb Eubank. Look him up, Steve. He's not Weeb Eubank.
Let's not spend time on that, please.
So from that standpoint, to sit there and say a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 2 decades, that finished the season last year with a 6-game losing streak, that's got Buffalo, Kansas City, and Cincinnati in the conference, and they got a 38-year-old quarterback coming off a so-so year. Well, you know what? It's Super Bowl bust. That's a little strong. Be
Can I
fair.
add 2 more points to that?
Yeah, that's extremely strong. Like I said, they just need to worry about making the playoffs, and that would be a successful season for them. And, I hate to hate on Aaron Rodgers because the guy is absolute baller. He's a Hall of Famer. But let's not get a little bit too ahead of ourselves here. Just make the playoffs and work from there. Like I said, Patrick Mahomes is not having it. That man is not having it.
Experience
Yep.
and chemistry.
Yep.
Okay, carry on.
Go ahead, Stephen A. I'll let you respond, and then I'll go smash Dougie's points.
No, you're not going to snatch doggy because you're wrong, Dan Orlovsky. Here's the point. Patrick Mahomes, on several occasions, has been called the Michael Jordan of football.
Yeah.
So let me, because I know you think you can ball. So let's understand something. And I know you know a little bit of basketball. So let's analyze that for a second. Reggie Miller doesn't have a title. Patrick Ewing doesn't have a title. Charles Barkley doesn't have a title. Sean Kemp, before he became Sean Clump, doesn't have a title. Gary Payton didn't have a title while he was in Seattle, because he ran the Jordan. Karl Malone doesn't have a title. John Stockton doesn't have a title. Why? Because of Michael Jordan. Yeah. When you have that kind of figure that is standing in your path, that's the excuse that you have. in terms of avoiding being a quote-unquote bust. Because there's a special generational talent that comes along, obviously once in a generation, and that is the standard bearer, and getting past that person is basically what it's all about. If you're talking about the New York Jets and what would qualify as a successful season, I'd say going as far as you can go before you run into Patrick Mahomes. This is the best thing that I could tell you
Exactly.
about Aaron Rodgers. He has an excuse to lose to no one else but Patrick Mahomes. Drew Brees is retired. Tom Brady is retired, okay? You know what? He's a couple of years away from that, or maybe just 1 year, depending on what you're listening to about Aaron Rodgers. He's got a crew. Their defense is big time. You got Garrett Wilson. You picked up Lazard. Brees Hall's coming back. You got some weapons. Buffalo is still formidable. We get all of that. They ain't been the same since Brian Dable left for the Giants job. Okay, we got that going on. Tua, I don't believe he's going to stay healthy. Me personally, I'm very, very worried. All I'm praying for Tua is that he stays healthy so Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle can show their stuff, because we know what kind of chemistry they have. Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Boyd and Mixon and those boys. They in Cincinnati. You got Lamar Jackson. He's got Odell Beckham Jr. now. Bateman now. Not Ava DuVernay, Devin DuVernay. Not
We
Ava.
know the
He's got
AFC's
Devin.
loaded.
We got all
We
of
know
it.
this.
The AFC is loaded, and still, what I would say to you is that there is no excuse. There's no excuse to lose to Lamar Jackson. There's no excuse to lose to Joe Burrow. There's no excuse to lose to Josh Allen. There's no excuse to lose to Justin Herbert. There's no excuse to lose to Russell Wilson or any of those guys. But it's understandable if he runs into Patrick Mahomes and gets knocked off. As long as that's the case, I got to let it go.